Hello, you guys. I told you I would be back soon. I didn't think it would be this soon. It's Tuesday today? I don't know. I don't keep track of days, but it literally feels like I just made my last video, and I don't usually get on the camera this quick. I usually relax for 10 to 15 days, so I guess I'm breaking my own habits. The juice cleanse is going amazing. We had a little bit of a headache on day 2 or whatever. We are flying by it. I guess it's because for the last 6 months or so we've been eating healthy, so that's really changed our experience here. If not, I'm telling you, I'd be the girl eating cookies in my room saying I can't handle it. So yeah, it's going great, and it's showing me how much we've come. We're not that dependent on food anymore. Even though we enjoy it, we're not that dependent on it. But anyway, 20 minutes ago I got a download, and literally it said, is control controlling you? And I'm like, okay, that's the cue to start, like, you know, tuning into that message. Because in the past I used to be a bad girl and say, big deal, another download will come, I'm not going to bother. So now my guides are saying, no, when we give you a download, you go. You don't take us for granted, honey. You know, like they're always telling me, don't take us. Okay, they don't tell me that, but I know you can't really take your guides for granted, because then they'll leave. Of course, I always say to them, you guys will never leave me, you love me and all of that, but always listen to your guides. When they're trying to get through to you, it means they have an important message for you. So I just had an amazing, before I get into the message, I'm in my robe because this is so spontaneous. I literally got out of my lymphatic drainage massage and my infrared sauna therapy. It was amazing. I feel so energetic. I feel so relaxed. Every single day we get 2 spa therapies, and they're all like super high, you know, like I haven't heard of these therapies before. So this is like my kind of heaven, my kind of haven, which is why you'll see me glowing and blooming. I know if Saman was here, he'd say, you're such a spoiled brat. I need to give you one tight smack. That's actually what he would say. I cannot believe I'm being this chirpy today. Okay, so the message is control controlling you. The image they showed me is of people who have been silenced and shushed and repressed all their lives, like especially in their childhood. My guides showed me how these are the very children, these are the very beautiful children who grow up feeling so invalidated, so shushed up, so silenced, that they don't even know it. They grow up unconsciously, they go through their teenage years, they go through their marriage, their love life, and all of that stuff. They have kids. And all of a sudden, later on in their life, let's say in their 40s or 50s, usually I would say 40s or late 30s. But let's say 40s, it hits them. It's like, oh my God, why is life so hard? Why does life feel so unpleasant? And this message is for every single one of you, because I can tell you that you will actually have breakthroughs in some of the aspects we cover, because we all think, oh, we're not controlling. We're like these little daisies, these empaths, these light workers. We're like, you know, a flower amidst the thorns. But I'm telling you that is far from the truth for any of us, because we have control issues, whether we like to believe it or not. And I'll tell you about my control issue from a few years ago, but before that, so what happens to these children is they grow up feeling so invalidated that when they become an adult and they find a voice finally at 40, when they feel barely confident enough to start speaking, they say, all right, we are going to control everything now. So they manifest weak partners so that they can control them. They manifest children so that they can control them. They manifest friends they can control. They try to control pretty much everybody. And this is something, don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed if you're like that, because this is human psychology. The matrix is designed to control us. Okay, soak this in. The matrix is designed to control us. So the matrix inserts programs such as control, right? They try to control us through, we don't need to get to that. You know how they try to control you, food and education and pretty much, and religion and media. They control all 360 degrees until you leave the matrix and you realize, hey, I was being controlled because I allowed it. It's as simple as that. Anyway, I'm digressing like crazy right now. So back to, where was I? So we come back to when we're grown up and all of that, we start having a voice, and then we start controlling everything because we don't even realize it, but we've turned into the narcissistic monsters that we did not like our parents were. So we turn into them without even realizing it. So if you self-reflect on yourself right now and say, all right, where am I showing these patterns of control? Am I controlling my husband or spouse, your wife, whoever, your partner? Am I too controlling about what they eat, how they dress, how they walk, how they talk? What else are we trying to control? How much they make, how much money they make? Are we trying to control our children, what university they go to or what courses they take? And we completely squish their creativity by doing so. Because then your child's like, well, I'm an artist wanting to be this, you know, multi-million, like whatever, like this huge diva, like artist who can be very, very famous. But then there you are as a parent trying to squish their creativity and say, no, we want you to be a lawyer, a doctor, or an engineer or something like that. So we have to look at all aspects of where are we trying to control people. And this is why it's so important. When you're trying to control people, you're actually displaying the behavior of the matrix. You see how? You're actually displaying the very behaviors of the matrix by controlling everything. How can you leave the matrix unless you break out of this control system? I wrote down a few things when I got this. Like, this was literally 5 minutes ago, guys. How an ideal, I wrote down a few things of how humans compare, what an ideal marriage should look like, how much money you should have saved. Oh my God, that's a big one. I should have saved this much by now. I should have done this with my life by now. The should have, could have, would have to go. They're all the past. They are you. These are the programs imposed on you. The should have, could have, would have program is a matrix program that has been imposed on you to take you away from your peace, from your joy, from your happiness, from your I am presence, from your now moment. And I'll give you an example later that'll kind of set it in. Unnecessary bickering with your spouse because you're playing an old ego story. So here's my question to you. Where are you playing an old ego story? When are you unnecessarily bickering, unnecessarily complaining, unnecessarily overthinking, overanalyzing, overextending, overgiving? Where are you doing that? So this is a huge self-reflection moment for you. And as the weeks go along, you guys are going to start noticing, because I'm planting a seed, a very deep seed. It may sprout for the next several years, but it will sprout. And I have a feeling within a week, you guys are going to have 3 or 4 page lists of how many things you're trying to control, and start journaling it. Anytime you think of that, like, holy shit, I was controlling that. All right, let me write it down. So start writing down, what are you trying to control? So this program I wrote down is running like a wild dog. This program is running you like a wild dog. So you need to unprogram yourself from this program. You're being played, my love. You guys are being played like, you know, I don't want to say it, but I'll say it like bitches. Okay, now you're seeing my very chirpy side. All right, so no going into bitch territory. This is a very sweet channel. All right, I'm just in such a good mood since my detox, iron, all these crazy massages I'm having. Okay. All right, another thing you try to control, another thing you start controlling is how you don't let love come in. You stop love because you say, oh, no. I don't want to be loved so much. You unconsciously, the program takes over you and you block love out because subconsciously you don't want to be hurt. So you start controlling love. You start pushing it away. You see how that works? You start controlling love. Oh my goodness. And the next one, this is a big one. You start controlling your ascension process. And you know, a few people at the retreat were perfect examples of this. They came in and looking around, they felt so intimidated of, holy shit, where are we in our ascension process? What are we going to do? Like, how are we going to ever measure up? These are all the stories of the ego. How are we ever going to measure up to these beautiful, everybody beings of light? And we're the ones who have to measure up. The ego is constantly manipulating you and abusing you to think that way. So when you're controlling, all these aspects of control are really you screwing up or you sabotaging, that's the word, you sabotaging your own ascension process. You see how that works? Because until you let go of control, you're still in your head. You're so ruled by your ego. You're constantly, the ego is in control of you, controlling you, running you. it's time to get back to the seat. It's time to get back to the driver's seat and say, all right, I'm in control. And holy shit, this thorn coming here is a program. Okay, this is a program telling me to bicker at my husband. Oh my God, this is a program telling me that my son or daughter has to get an A++ for him to feel validated or as a good student. Screw that. What if he gets B and he's a brilliant child and he just doesn't get the damn curriculum that, you know, Earth has in schools? You might be damaging a beautiful rainbow child. So where are you trying to control your ascension process? By controlling others, you're controlling your own ascension process. You're harming yourself. And this is a big one. What else? Have I written down any more examples? Oh, another way you try to control. Many of us, until I learned the hard way, instead of expressing, so basically it's about control. Many of us control our emotions because we don't want to show our authentic emotions. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you're angry. Think of someone you're mad at, like your ex-husband or... No, hold on. Let me back up. Let's say you're hurt by someone. Let's say you're really hurt. Someone's really hurt you. You don't express hurt. You know what you do? You suppress the hurt and you express anger. You say to them, you son of a bitch, blah, 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 because you don't want to show them you're hurt. You don't want to show them your authentic self. But you know what my guides taught me? To do the exact opposite. They said when you are expressing anger, and that's your ego's way of controlling your emotions. Your ego sees that you're hurt, but it steps in as anger, saying, no, I'm going to protect the hurt. And by not expressing your hurt as hurt, you're completely sabotaging the relationship, or you're completely sabotaging any slim remaining chance, or it could be any slim or big chance of saving the relationship. This is especially true not only in personal relationships, but even while dealing with vendors. Like if you see, we deal with so many different vendors, and it's very easy after an interaction to say, fuck it, we're never working with these people again. Because the truth is that humanity, man, it's hard working with people because you have a different set of rules, especially if you're aware of 5D and all of that. You have 5D set of rules and you're dealing with 3D set of rules. So what we're doing, Siman and I, is we're using the 3D as practice of how we can morph 3D with our 5D mastery skills. So instead of saying, all right, no, this relationship is a done deal, and expressing anger, we actually express our vulnerable, authentic truth, saying, you know, we have done this and we treated you this way and we've overpaid you, we've overextended, overgiven, over-referred. And to be honest, for you to bicker like that at us, it doesn't sit well with us and it really actually hurts us. So when we go from anger and mirroring to them, look at what losers you are, this is how you're behaving, blah, blah, blah. They now get in their egos because you're in your ego. So the relationship is broken. However, if you do the exact opposite and if you take time out, so let's say you're in an anger, in any kind of a hostile environment, take time away. Don't instantly react, because when you instantly text back, your ego is fully in control, riding you like a bitch on a horse. I said it. So anyway, you see what I mean? I'm being like extremely inappropriate today, but this is my true self, you guys. I think I'm morphing into my higher self, and my higher self is like this, because this is how I am all the time with Siman. I just put on a facade on YouTube that I'm like this serious, proper. I'm far from it. Holy shit, that's just such a facade. I mean, not a facade. I'm not hiding anything. I just haven't shown you this side. And the fact that it's coming out today means something's happening. Like, I don't know. Something's happening. Anyway, so what else? Instead of expressing hurt, yes, so then when we started expressing our hurt as hurt and genuine, authentic, it doesn't even have to be like a hurt like, oh, poor me, but you start expressing your hurt just in a very balanced, heart-centered way. It can be emotional, it can be completely unemotional. Then the other person gets this time to actually reflect and say, all right, this is what's going on. Holy shit. Like, because you're not in your ego, you express from your heart, you give the other person the opportunity to do the same. I wasn't going to talk about this here because we have a testimonial about it that I haven't yet seen from the retreat. But one of the ladies at the retreat had a huge breakthrough because of this one teaching. She came into the retreat with this heavy heart that I have this really horrible relationship with my ex, narcissistic boyfriend of many years, husband or boyfriend, I don't know. And to cut a long story short, they were not in a good place, and she kept bickering at him. She kept expressing anger like we all do. I mean, that's the normal human reaction, right? And he was also in his bickering, angry state or whatever. And she says, I don't know what to do about my 2 daughters. I want to move to Costa Rica and my daughters are in the States with him. So she came in, and on day 2, we talked about this teaching about expressing hurt. So an emotion of hurt to be expressed as hurt as opposed to converted to anger and expressed as anger. This was the whole teaching. So anyway, she went back to her room the same night after this teaching, after this workshop, and she sent her ex a text. For the first time, she was vulnerable. And she said, you know, you broke my heart. When you cheated on me, you broke my heart. And I loved you, and I really enjoyed our time together. And I'm just making this up, but this is the vibration of what she said. She said, you broke my heart. And I've never been able to heal from that. And she expressed her honest truth while standing in her power. She wasn't vulnerable. She wasn't saying, oh, take me back, or I want you. No, no, no. She was fully in her goddess power, but she expressed her hurt. And she went to bed. The next morning, you guys, and apparently there's a testimonial standalone made for this. I haven't yet watched it, but the photographer just told me that, the videographer, so I'll share it with you guys. The next morning, she came to class and she read out in tears. She was sobbing like a little baby. She was sobbing and reading his text out. And hold on, I'm going to see if I have the text, okay? Hold on. Okay, found it. I have the text. She actually shared it with me. I'm going to read it out, okay? I feel like this is the first real conversation we've ever been able to have. You don't need to try and keep up with and provide for the girls. I can do it. Just heal. You can have them anytime. They are your blessings, and I will never keep them away from you. I want what is best for them. If you want to stop working and take them full time and I pay you monthly support, I would do that for you. You deserve that. You deserve to be taken care of. I owe you that. To me, that is not giving up, that is giving love. I do my best to give and show my love. Do what you need to do. As I said, we love you, all of you, from your head to your toe. You are a beautiful person inside out. You are special and perfect in every way. You will be my biggest regret always. I am so sorry for the pain I caused you. My actions are unforgivable. They are a brand I carry with me forever. I hope you can find a way to forgive me, and I hope you can find peace. Whew, I'm getting emotional. You deserve it more than anything you know. You deserve it more than anyone I know. You are loved so much more than you know. You are beautiful. God bless you. Whew. So you see how shifting from anger to hurt had such a transformative... Now, it was a transformative experience, one of her breakthroughs. That was actually her biggest breakthrough. It happened on day 2. And guess what? Starting day 2, she started shedding pounds. She started losing so much weight because she came with this heavy burden of what am I going to do with my daughters? My ex-husband is so angry and he's like so hard to deal with, because she was being a bitch to him as well, right? We all have our bitch sides. I've been there. There's no judgment. So when you're being bitchy with someone, their bitch is responding to you. When you drop your ego and you actually express your emotion as it is, raw and unadulterated, hurt as hurt, they're not in their ego. Their ego is not involved. Their heart says, all right, they're speaking from their heart. And if you are vulnerable and they are not, and they act from their ego, they're total dicks. They're not meant to be in your life anyway. That's how I look at it. But that doesn't mean because, see, but what humans do is, because they're so used to dealing with dicks, they shut off their own emotions and say, no, I'm going to change to deal with that dick with my bitchy behavior. And that's what needs to be reversed right now. That is what needs to be reversed. So I had another example that I wanted to share from my personal life, but let me make sure that in my journal I have everything else. The one last thing I'd like to say about the matrix is that when you're controlling others, when you're even controlling the way you look. Okay, I need to look a certain way. My boobs need to look this way. My hair needs to look this way. And obsessing about it, like here in this juice detox, they weigh us once in the beginning and once at the end. And the lady was like being so careful. She's like, can you take off all your clothes? I need to get you down to the millimeter. I'm like, I don't care. I don't need you to obsess over my weight so much. And she says other women are so obsessed by every point, whatever grams that they take off all their clothes for the weighing scale. And so when we try to obsess, what happens? Our body doesn't lose weight. I'm just digressing here again, but these are all control issues, you guys. So many control issues I'm throwing at you. So what happens is the matrix now, this is what I wrote down, the matrix has to crumble. Oh my God, this is a good one. I'm glad I'm reading it actually. See, I had forgotten. Okay. This is how I wrote it. This is a reflection of how many programs are controlling human beings and how many programs are controlling our free will. You are controlling others, right? At some level, if you're controlling others, just think of that for a second. The matrix has to crumble because control is the opposite of free will. So when you're controlling something, you're taking away a person's free will. And our angels, our guides would never do that to us. This is a free will planet. This is a free will zone. So when the matrix has taken, what has the matrix done? It has taken away the free will of human beings. And because it's taken away the free will of human beings, it doesn't have God's light on it, obviously. So it is going to crumble. There's no other way. It is crumbling. It has crumbled, right? So the same way the matrix is crumbling. So until your control structures, your control patterns crumble, your higher self merger is literally waiting for this last, it's waiting for a lot of these last layers to be released. Control is a big one, and it's a big part of the ego. I feel like ego is my favorite topic to talk about. For some reason, I feel like I talk very well about the ego, and I love talking about the ego. Saman is a master of the ego as well, but for some reason he doesn't enjoy teaching it. Like, I love teaching this. So I'm going to give you an example of what a big breakthrough I had when I had this lesson come up around control. This was 3 years ago. Actually, no, it was about 2 years ago, 2 summers ago. We were in Lake Louise. I had not yet started my YouTube channel. I was just an everyday normal, like I had just sold my business, I believe. Yeah, I had just sold my business and I had no idea what I was doing next. I was completely like, all right, should I buy another business? No, what else should I do? I don't know, I'm waiting. So this was my life just 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago. We were in Lake Louise because we love to travel. We're always traveling. And we were in Lake Louise at the Fairmont, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous 5-star hotel nestled in Lake Louise. The waters there are like this gorgeous turquoise blue. It's a portal. It's Archangel Michael's retreat. You can tangibly feel like the good energy there. It's phenomenal. And the Fairmont is like a stunning property, all right? It's expensive. And I remember when we went, it was around like, it was peak summer. So it was a ridiculous rate. Like what can go, sometimes what people pay $600 for were $1,200. They were double the regular price. So anyway, we were there for a few days and we said, all right, 3 nights we have to stay at the Fairmont. Like we would love to stay right by the lake. So we booked 3 nights at the Fairmont Lake Louise. As soon as I walked into my room, I looked at it. It was so freaking tiny. A king bed, maybe a queen, I can't remember, but a really tiny, non-upgraded, very normal looking hotel room. And I remember Saman, with the same eyes, Saman was like, wow, it's such a nice hotel. And I'm like, are you blind? Like, this place is a shithole. Like, we paid $1,200 plus tax for this. Like, literally in the washroom, when I would move, my elbow would hit the wall. And they said lake view, but it was literally like 2 little small windows with the lake view. So all my attention went into all the factors I just listed. And I was like, oh my God, I do not like this place. I spent so much money on this stupid shit. And that's how my ego started taking over. Because in those days, my ego was still very much more in control of me than, like right now, I'm in control of my ego to a large extent. Not fully, but to a large extent. So anyway, that was when the message came in through Saman. I remember him telling me, he said, all right, your guides want you to know this. Because in those days, I hadn't yet started I always knew I was talking to my guides, but I had never started expressing it through YouTube or anything. So my confidence levels about my guide channelings were not as high as Siman. So he said to me, he's like, all right, your guides want you to know that you're trying to control the situation and therefore you're not having the experience that you can have. Now my guides always say you're an A grade student. Like they're like, you're an A++ distinction all combined, because I get it. When I get it, I don't waste any time. I drop it. I don't wait 20 years or 10 years to repeat the same lessons. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in control. Okay, what does that mean? I can very quickly do this. Like it's super easy for me now. So I said, all right, I'm trying to control all these things, but instead I'm going to focus on Lake Louise. I'm going to focus on this energy here. I'm going to focus on the fact that we are nestled in the middle of Lake Louise. Like this is the only hotel in Lake Louise that has this wow factor right on the lake. So anyway, I started focusing on all of that and suddenly my vibration started going up. That's when I was being trained on 5D frequencies. That was when I was being trained. It was just before my YouTube channel started. Okay, so now listen to what happened. Just before this breakthrough, I remember calling the reception manager, the manager of reception, and said, hey, listen, I need an upgrade. I don't like this room at all. I didn't pay 1,200 times 3 to get this little, like I don't even have room in the bathroom to turn or close the door. It was like really small. But I'm also really spoiled. Siman would again say, I just want to spank you. That's all he says when I speak like this. He's like, you're such a spoiled brat. But see, I've lived my life, I've come through the hardships, man. I've slept on the like on the streets. I've been poor. I've not had food to eat. I've worked and I've come up the hard way through my positivity. So I'm proud of it. I deserve this life. I deserve this life because I didn't have it. I created it. Anyway, back to the message. So I had complained to the manager of the hotel saying, this is the thing, I need an upgrade and I need a place with a balcony. Because in those days, we used to really enjoy smoking weed. And I'm like, I want a balcony at least, like when I'm paying that much, I assumed that I'd get a place with a nice terrace. So I said, I want one of your suites with a terrace. And they said, sorry, ma'am, but we're running on 100% capacity, but there's no chance of an upgrade. So I hung up and that's when the guides channeled in about the control and I got the lesson. Within an hour of me getting the lesson, I got a call from the same guy I had spoken to saying, hi ma'am, I just wanted to let you know that we're going to make an exception and we have a very, very special room with a large terrace overlooking the lake, and it's a very special room and we're going to move you there right now. So within an hour of learning the lesson, I was rewarded because I got the lesson. It's not like I half-assed it, I got it. So then I moved to that room. It was amazing. And that is where, you guys, we went out, we were smoking weed. I still have a picture. I even put that up, a picture up of me holding a joint in one hand and looking at Lake Louise. I have it somewhere. I'll repost it one of these days. I had posted it on Facebook as my profile picture. So anyway, we were smoking weed and Siman said, I'm getting a channeling from your higher self, like your higher self is channeling through me. And I said, all right. It was a very weird concept, but I said, go ahead. And suddenly he started speaking like me, like cheerful, bubbly. I thought it was the weed, but I still have the recording of that, but we haven't put it up ever because he's like, no way, I look high, never ever put this up and stuff. Like back 2 years ago, we would have never put that up. Now I don't care. But anyway, the whole channeling was, you guys love to travel, so make travel a part of your soul's mission. This is one of your highest timelines. Start a YouTube channel, EldoRa, and every time you're in these gorgeous, heavenly, luxurious places that make you come alive, share that transmission, share that 5D transmission, share your energy on YouTube and share your teachings freely. The universe supports you. Now go have fun. And it was a 15-minute channeling and it was amazing. Within a few months, this was July, I remember, and I made my first YouTube video in October. So, and in that period, I got my spiritual name, EldoRa, and all of that happened. So you see how when you learn these lessons, magic awaits. It's not like, all right, you learn this lesson and you go back to your old life. Every time you go through a lesson and you break a program, that's how you exit the freaking matrix. You keep exiting it day by day, minute by minute. Anytime you see a program, you need to let it go. And some ego programs can be very hard to let go, you guys. Can be very hard because your ego is in control. You're saying, all right, I'm fighting with that guy, like it could be your husband or it could be your wife or whoever, partner. I'm fighting with that son of a bitch and I know he's right, but I'm going to sit on such a high ego horse and I'm not going to get off it. Because I don't want him to see that I miss him, or I don't want to see that, you know, I know he's right. So your ego will try to prevent you all the time from expressing your truth. And that is very hard, but I've done it. I've literally done it. Like sometimes when Siman and I have fought in the past, we still do, but not as much. Like in our first year, I would say, is when we would fight. Like every 3-4 months, we would have one major fight, because I had to learn all my lessons and he had to learn all his lessons in a very short period of time. So what we did was every time we fought, we said, all right, mystery school, this is our mystery school. What is this fight trying to teach us? How do we come out of it? So we learned very fast and we got out of it very, very fast. Whew, I feel like that concludes it. I feel like that concludes it. So I will say that as soon as I shifted my mindset, that was when I first started feeling Archangel Michael's energy holding me and cradling me, and I couldn't have experienced that magic and even received the download to start a YouTube channel if I was in a stressful situation. Because if I was still trying to control that place and focus on the small room, what would have happened? I would have not been in my heart, I would have been in my head. And in my head, I would have been frustrated, so Siman couldn't have been in his heart. He would have also been frustrated because the experience was ruined, kind of thing. He would have felt sad and not known what to do about it. It could have completely destroyed our whole vacation. Think about it. But because you learn the lesson, all of a sudden you start appreciating the magic around you that exists now. You don't sit at home and say, oh, my life will be great when I'm like EldoRa and I can travel the world. That's you being a victim. That's you doing what I did at the hotel. Instead, make now. This now moment is your paradise. Right now. If you're someone who is worried shitless about whether you'll ascend or not, and I tell you this, there's more of you than you guys know. And it was very obvious in the retreat, which is what was everyone's breakthrough. Like, shit, everyone's worried about not ascending. This is a huge worry. This worry is what's taking you away from your ascension. You know what I do? I don't worry at all. That's why I fly. I don't worry about whether I'll ascend, how long I'll take, whether I channel or not, whether I can heal or not. I don't worry because I love my life so much. Why do I have to worry about something that hasn't even come to me and say, oh, I don't have this? No, I don't want to say I'll be happy when. The main thing is you have to be happy now. Look at your blessings now. Look at what makes you happy and lights up your life now. Because when you're in that vibration of gratitude versus expectation, when you're in the vibration of humility and appreciation of the gifts the universe has given you, as opposed to entitlement, instantly you shift from 3D to 5D. You shift. It's a vibrational thing. And the more you keep yourself in this 5D state, the more you anchor your 5th dimensional reality. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Do comment and let me know how that was. And this energy, I don't know where it came from, but I'm loving it. So maybe I'll keep it. I look forward to hearing from you. Love you.